that we have to move on to another quintessential Dreamcast fighting game.
Yes.
And that was Dead or Alive 2.
Yes.
And Dead or Alive, yeah, we get the jokes. I mean, it's fan service the game at times, but it actually is a really good fighter.
No, it was a lot of fun. The first two characters we picked, you picked like this old, like.
Oh yeah, I joked with her. I was like, fan service the game, so we picked the two least fan servicey characters.
You picked like this old guy, and then I picked this like
cowboy
guy.
dude.
But oh my god, he had a dump truck.
They both had dump truck
ass. Like
they were Pixar moms.
Like I was just like, oh my god, like this is fan service, people.
Oh, that was great.
And then I kicked your butt.
Yeah. She, Alex is apparently really good at Dead or Alive.
Yes, fight me.
Because we were like 1-6 on that one.
Yeah. And then I messed up the score by exiting out by accident.
I didn't get a good save on it, but
but I still won.
Yeah, we played a good amount of fights on that.
Yeah,
that's just a
we tried to play through every character.
It's just a fun game in general. Aside from Hey guys, and welcome back to the Gaming and Collecting Podcast. On this episode, me and Alex are going to be discussing Sega's swan song console, the Sega Dreamcast. After taking some time and playing a bunch of the games, we decided we're going to have kind of a little retrospective as someone who has grown with the system over the years, as opposed to someone who is just really experiencing it now for the first time. It is a crazy ride. This system has a lot to offer, and remember, it's still thinking. But anyways, guys, thanks again for joining us as we discuss the games that shaped us. So, how you been? Even though it's only been a couple hours since our last recording session.
Well, I've been good. We just ate dinner at a local restaurant, and it was really good.
Very
we
good.
both got burgers.
Yeah.
You got
It was like a honey barbecue brisket burger. It was very, very, very briskety, but very good at the same time.
I got a bacon and guacamole burger, and it was really good.
Yeah.
It was really good quality.
Oh, and we had 2 beers. I had a October. It was like their house brand Oktoberfest. It was very good.
And I had their house brand cider, which was really good.
You could smell it across the table. It had a very strong odor.
It actually,
it wasn't an unpleasant odor, but it was strong.
I thought it was going to be very, very sweet, but actually it was pretty, mild in the sweetness. It was more, I felt like it more had a scent rather than the taste, but it was still good. It was really good. I enjoyed it. It was actually one of the best ciders I've had in a while.
Yeah, well, usually the locals brands or the home house brands tend to be like that. Yeah. I guess continuing off of that tangent, I guess we can talk about what we're drinking because we drink now.
Yes, it is not noontime. It is 6:27.
Yep. So I'm drinking a ranch water again from Lone River. Prickly pear, 80 calories. It's very good.
And I'm drinking a Willie's Super Brew hard seltzer with real fruit, and it's pineapple lime. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I like it.
Yep. So we were doing that, and we've gone out. Well, we went to Big Y. That was exciting.
The Big Y. We got muffins. Because we gotta wake up early tomorrow for convention, so we can't stop for breakfast. So we got pre-convention breakfast, which was muffins. But we'll stop for coffee.
Oh yeah, coffee.
Because we'll need coffee.
Coffee's damn near essential.
Coffee.
But anyways, let's continue on. So we're going to discuss our next topic, which is a very near and dear one to my heart. We're going to be talking about the Sega Dreamcast. Sega's final video game console of all time. It's the absolute swan song of the company.
Yep.
Before they became a third-party publisher.
Yep.
And the Sega Dreamcast was interesting because by that point Sega was so they were so in such a bad place. They had just done everything they could to put themselves in trouble. The Saturn bombed, even though Saturn's a great console in its own right, but Saturn bombed. Everything they were doing just seemed to be not quite they seemed to always have the greatest ideas, but never came out at the right time, or they were just too early. They were too ahead of their time at times.
Yeah.
So they obviously, for the Dreamcast, they went back to the drawing board, and they basically made, in my opinion, what was the last true gamers console. Like,
Mm-hmm.
completely everything for gamers. No fluff. No. See, it's either that or the GameCube, really, but the GameCube's kind of a weird. It's kind of a weird one because the GameCube was very Nintendo, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
But the Dreamcast came out in Japan in '98 to decent success, but not quite the success Sega was hoping for. And then it famously came out in America on 9/9/99, and came with a Sonic game at launch, a whole bunch of things. And for the system itself, it did very well. It was famously the first system to have built-in online
That's
right
cool.
out of the box. You had to use dial-up, although there was a broadband adapter later on.
Dial up
Yeah, you had to plug it into your phone line to use the internet. It was fun.
times.
But you could go online right out of the box. It had great graphics for the time. It was easy to program for, and it was four controller ports on the front.
Yep.
Basically, it was like everything that they did wrong in the past, they finally corrected it. Like, they even downplayed the Sega branding on the console. Like, everything was branded as Dreamcast. The only Sega logo on the console is right on the front.
Yep.
That's it. It, like, they were very careful to, like, not screw this one up. And it came out to very big fanfare. It was actually the one of the fastest selling console launches in the US at the time.
Wow.
And unfortunately, it couldn't survive the sheer hype of the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Like, the PlayStation 2 didn't kill it. It was the hype alone for the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
And sadly, the system was discontinued in 2001, only about 2 years after it came out.
Wow.
Which one of the shortest lived consoles of all time. Technically a failure, but
It
retrospect.
it was a victim of bad timing.
It was a victim, not so much bad timing. It was more a victim of just bad publicity, and just years of
marketing.
Sega was so in debt and in the toilet at that point that they would have needed to, like, sell so many games to break even.
Yeah.
Like, there was a point where they were basically, like, trying to give Dreamcasts away and nobody would take them.
Oh wow, that I would have taken it at
Well,
the
if we
time.
had known at the time. Basically, all you had to do was sign up for their online service and they'd give you a Dreamcast or something.
Oh, wow.
Something like that. It was sad.
Yeah.
But flash forward, so it's discontinued for years, and me and Alex kind of missed the Dreamcast back in the day, like,
because we had the PlayStation 2.
yeah, well, we had PS1, PS2, like, we didn't even see the Dreamcast during its early stages. It kind of just came and went.
Yeah.
But
I don't even remember it as a kid. Like, I don't
yeah.
remember commercials. I don't remember anything. I never saw the Dreamcast.
yeah, it was weird. We might just not remember it because we were young
Yeah.
then.
No, we might, but I remember the PlayStation 2.
So I rediscovering the Dreamcast was interesting because I remember seeing, like, back when YouTube was first. I've told this story in the past before, but back when YouTube first became a thing, and video game channels were starting to appear, like Classic Game Room and, like, other AVGN and stuff, like these old OGs of YouTube gaming. I remember seeing all these videos about the Dreamcast, and I was like, what is the Dreamcast? And I remember thinking, like, I remember being, like, so fascinated by it. And then I did the research, and I was like, oh, it was Sega's last system. And you start going deeper and deeper. And it kind of, something clicked in my head. This was, like, 2009. And I was like, I really want one of those. So I asked for a birthday present one year, and I got the Dreamcast with two controllers, VMU, memory card, and Sonic Adventure 1 and 2.
Yep.
And I played them,
Yep.
and I was hooked from there. And that, like, single-handedly kickstarted my video game collecting, like, trip that I've been on ever since.
Yep.
And it's crazy how that one system changed my perception on, like, gaming in general. And I mean, it was so cool, like, out of the box. Like, I got a brand new one too, like, never opened before, which was
wow.
neat. And you open it up and it's like it's super clean looking. Like, it's a very attractive looking system.
It is a very nice looking system.
Very
I
clean.
will
It's
say.
not, like, super flashy. It's like it's interesting because it's like the one Sega console in America that's not black. It's like a creamish white color
Creamy
with this
white.
the classic orange swirl Dreamcast logo. 4 controller ports, attractive on the front, and the triangle light.
Yep.
And it's a loud motherfucker when it runs.
Oh yeah, it was definitely screaming at times.
That disc reader is very loud. It's always been loud. Like it's just a Dreamcast thing.
Yep.
And then the controller is interesting too.
Yeah.
The controller is one of the most fascinating controller designs ever.
It is interesting
Because you can actually see a lot of the Xbox controller out of the Dreamcast controller when you really take a look at it. Because it's got that weird handle design, which is actually a lot more comfortable than you'd think.
No, yeah, when I was playing it, I actually found my hands in a pretty comfortable position. I didn't think it was uncomfortable.
It's actually an evolution of the Sega Saturn 3D controller in a way.
Oh,
which
yeah.
was very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of the first pack-in controllers to have like analog triggers.
Yep.
Which were cool for the time because you could get like true. It was great for racing games. Like you had that
Yeah.
true range of motion there. And then this front was pretty standard. It was the standard 4 face buttons, analog stick, D-pad. It was still one analog stick. The dual analog sticks wasn't the norm yet.
Yeah.
The only problem I have with the Dreamcast controller is this was still during that time when hard plastic was like the norm.
Yeah.
For all like game controller, and the buttons aren't bad. It's more the D-pad and the analog stick. The analog stick isn't awful, but it does get slippery after a while.
Yeah, I'll definitely say the D-pad.
Yeah, the D-pad
after playing a certain game we were playing, my thumb was hurting from using the D-pad, and I had to use the D-pad.
So the Dreamcast is like the first Sega system not to use that D-pad that the Genesis had. That was like the circular one, that's really nice and smooth. Instead, it used just a more traditional cross design. And it's this hard plastic, and it digs into your thumb after a while. It's probably the weakest feature on the system in general. Mm. And then the system's most defining feature is the VMU card readers, which are basically glorified memory cards. But they were cool because they were like little Tamagotchis that you could pull out of the system, and they would display. The front one would display like little like images on the controller that you could use for certain games. Like I know famously NFL 2K, you could use it to hide your plays.
Oh, that's funny.
Or in certain party games, you could like see you could look at your moves down on the VMU and not up on the screen. Mm-hmm. And it was cool. Like it was different. And it was honestly it's a chunky controller too, but it's like super comfy.
I would say it's chunky, but it is comfortable in your hands.
The only downside I think is the wire comes out of the bottom, which is a little annoying.
And it has like this little like divot in the back.
Yeah, there's
where
a little.
You can hook it, but it's kind of.
There's a little clip, but it always pops out of the clip, and it's kind of like.
It doesn't really stay.
Especially on my controller because I have a rumble pack built in.
Yeah. And I also feel like it probably isn't a good idea to do that because you might damage your cord after a while, like putting that.
It's pretty strong, I've noticed.
I meant too, like the whole bending it. You know what I'm saying? Like the bending part.
I don't know. It was designed for that, so.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't trust any cords after you bend it that way because it feels like, especially. Maybe I'm just betrayed by like iPhone cords because I feel like.
Well, those things are flimsy as shit.
Those things are crap. But the thing is, if you don't buy an iPhone brand one, like, it's even more flimsy as crap. Like, I feel like the other ones don't even work either.
I don't know. I bought some pretty strong ones.
I don't know. I get unlucky with it, I guess.
But anyways, continuing on with the Dreamcast. So, we did this kind of similar in style to the 3DO experience episode we did, where we played a bunch of games and we're going to kind of go over the whole experience.
Yeah.
So, we started it off, obviously, by going with the it's a Sega console, so we decided to start with some Sonic games. So we played a bit of Sonic Adventure.
Yes.
And I mostly wanted to show off an Easter egg from Sonic Adventure, which was in Sonic Adventure 2. It's a single-player game.
Yes.
But if you plug in a second controller, you can do this in a ton. Like this, you could do this in the Genesis games, and you can do it in some of the more modern games, like after Adventure 2. But if you have a second controller playing in, you can actually let that player control Tails in the levels. So it was great because I was going through the level and Alex is trying to control Tails. And Tails is like completely out of control because he's not connected to the camera. And he's like going everywhere.
I was like, I lost Tails again. Like, he would just disappear off the screen, but eventually, like, during like he would like respawn eventually when you like stopped. But then, like, 2 seconds later, I would just lose him again, and I was like, oh!
Yeah. So we did the first level of the game, the ocean level, and we got to the end, and I was really curious to see if Tails could jump on the animal capsule and open it up. He can't. We found out, even though it was a struggle to get him up there.
Yeah.
But he just kind of lands on top of it, and it's like, oh.
And then he's just like, womp, womp, womp.
It was funny though replaying Sonic Adventure because you realize, the Dreamcast version is literally the best version of that game, but it's also very. You can see it's definitely aged a bit.
Oh yeah.
But it's also the most fascinating Dreamcast game in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course we moved on to Adventure 2 afterwards because
Yes.
Adventure 2 does have a multiplayer.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as interesting as Adventure 2 Battles multiplayer from the GameCube version, which was heavily expanded.
Mm-hmm.
But Adventure 2 has a pretty decent rudimentary multiplayer, and we messed around with that, and we realized Alex is really bad at Sonic games.
Well, they're not my best games.
We
I
died a
couldn't
lot.
even get the guardrail. I don't know why, but I just couldn't figure it out how to get him
The
to
rail
guard.
grinding.
Bill's on the rail grinding. He's just like zoop. He was like zoom past me, and I'm literally like like inching on it the whole way. I just sounds like the grape lady a little bit. Our favorite inside joke.
Yeah. But we did that because you can't do a Dreamcast retrospective without talking about the Sonic games. They're just essential.
Yes.
We skipped over Sonic Shuffle though because we don't have 5 hours of our lives to give right now.
Yeah, but honestly, I've seen clips. I got the gist of it.
It's Mario Party, but not good.
But not good, and with cards rather than
Kind of.
dice.
Yeah, and you barely play mini games.
Nope. So it's shit. Anyways.
Yeah, it's entertaining for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
I mean, the best mini game though I will say in Sonic Shuffle is there's a mini game where it's a soda machine, and Eggman walks up to the soda machine and just shakes up a soda and puts it back in the machine, and you have to pick a soda, and whoever picks the one that was shook off loses.
That's actually the most Eggman.
It's so funny because he's such a troll. He just walks over, shakes it up, and walks off, and it's like, okay.
I love everything about that.
Like
that brings me joy.
I remember that one no matter what the occasion.
Oh, that's so funny.
But anyways, moving on from those two, then we decided to do our time-tested tradition of fighting games.
Yes.
So we played about a handful of fighting games.
None of them were balls, by the way.
No, Balls, it was never released. I think that was the 3DO version was the last official release of Balls.
I was just saying that I really enjoyed that game, and none of them were up to the standard of balls.
Yeah, okay. But anyways,
I'm being sarcastic.
the first fighter.
I'm being a troll.
Yeah, the first fighter we played was Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Yeah.
Just because it's kind of a staple of the Dreamcast, and I love that game, but I'm not the best at Street Fighter style fighters all the time. I like them. I'm just not the greatest at them.
Yeah.
And that one hurt Alex's fingers because the D-pad on the Dreamcast is not the best.
Yeah, I was enjoying it the first 2 rounds, but then my thumb started hurting, and I progressively just started to dislike it because my thumb was hurting.
It still holds up great though. It's got beautiful sprite art.
It looks great. The animation is great.
It's a perfect arcade port.
Yeah, but my thumb just hurt. So take it as you will.
So we played that, and then right after I was like, okay, we need to play the Dreamcast fighting game.
Yes.
So then we went over to Soul Calibur.
Yes.
And Soul Calibur is one of probably the greatest fighting games ever made, honestly.
Mhm.
And the Dreamcast version in particular, because Soul Calibur is a sequel to Soul Edge.
Yep.
And the arcade version of Soul Calibur, what makes the Dreamcast version of Soul Calibur so famous is it was actually it actually was better off. It looked better and played better than the arcade version on the Dreamcast.
Oh, wow.
For the time.
Huh.
So we were playing that, and Soul Calibur's a 3D weapons-based fighter.
Yeah.
And we had a blast with that one.
No, I really liked Soul Calibur. I had a lot of fun with that one.
We were pretty evenly matched on that one.
Yeah, I think I won in the end. I think I had one more
I think
match.
it was 3-4.
I think it was 3-4. But no, I definitely thought some fighters were more overpowered than others. There were definitely some that were easier to pick up and play than
I think that's more of it, not so much overpowered.
Yeah, not
there's
over.
certain ones you were better at than others.
Yeah. But I really like, which one was the one who had the weird, like, chain whip sword?
Oh, Ivy.
Ivy. I liked her chain whip
the
sword.
long running character.
That was
I just
my
liked
favorite.
all of them. I liked it played super smooth.
Yeah.
It was fun to play. Like the voice acting's so goofy though.
Oh yeah.
But all the voice acting in these games is goofy for the time.
Our last round we played it. Well, so we there wasn't an uneven amount of characters, but okay. It was because you replayed one once. You replayed one of the guys. Oh wait, no. I don't know why we didn't.
No, we've just played a ton of rounds for that
We
one.
played a ton of rounds.
Randomly.
But at one point we chose the same character, and it was this weird like BDSM mask one, and but mine had weird like purple spikes and Jimmy Neutron. It's so weird. Oh, and then there was the other guy.
Yeah. That was an interesting. You were so distracted. The guy with like the Freddy Krueger hands.
Yeah, the Freddy Krueger hand. Well, no, like you picked the weird bondage guy, and I picked the weird guy with the pole.
Oh, yeah. Fighting games, am I right?
Yep.
But we had a pretty decent time with that one.
Yeah.
It was fun. We were like 3-4 on that one. Like
Yeah.
Alex edged me out by 1.
Yeah.
So then, of course, after that, we have to move on to another quintessential Dreamcast fighting game.
Yes.
And that was Dead or Alive 2.
Yes.
And Dead or Alive, yeah, we get the jokes. I mean, it's fan service the game at times, but it actually is a really good fighter.
No, it was a lot of fun. The first 2 characters we picked, you picked like this old like.
Oh yeah, I joked with her. I was like fan service the game, so we picked the 2 least fan servicey characters.
You picked like this old guy, and then I picked this like
cowboy
guy.
dude.
But oh my god, he had a dump truck.
They both had dump truck
ass. Like
they were Pixar moms.
Like I was just like, oh my god, like this is fan service, people.
Oh, it was great.
And then I kicked your butt.
Yeah. She, Alex is apparently really good at Dead or Alive.
Yes, fight me.
Because we were like 1-6 on that one.
Yeah, and then I messed up the score by exiting out by accident.
I didn't get a good save on it, but
yeah. But I still won.
Yeah, we played a good amount of fights on that.
Yeah,
that's just
we tried to play through every character.
It's just a fun game in general. Aside from how doofy it is, but it's so action packed and fun to play.
Oh yeah.
Now, what did we do? Any other fighters after that, or?
I thought
we tried to play Mortal Kombat, but the.
Oh yeah, that's what happened.
The because I was using an HDMI adapter, it recognized it as a VGA cable, and certain games don't support the VGA feature.
Yeah.
So we couldn't play Mortal Kombat Gold.
Yeah, but we've played Mortal Kombat before, so we know.
That's for another time, because I'd have to use a different adapter to play that.
Yeah.
Did we play another fighter? I don't remember.
I'm trying to think. I don't think so. I think it was just 1, 2. Oh wait, no. No, because we did the weapon one. We did.
Yeah, we didn't play King of Fighters. We didn't play. So the Dreamcast is like the fighting game console out there.
Oh yeah.
There is so many great fighters like Street Fighter 3, Plasma Sword.
Yep.
There's like a bunch of King of Fighters, Heavy Metal, Geomatrix, Mortal Kombat Gold, Virtual Fighter 3, Power Stone. We should have played Power Stone. I didn't even think about that.
Next time.
Power Stone's like Smash Brothers in 3D. It's cool.
Oh, that was sucked at that because I can't figure out.
It doesn't play like Smash Brothers. It's like a party fighting game.
Oh, okay.
Then after that, we moved on to.
What did we play after that?
What did we play after?
I'm like, did we play the mouse game after? No, we played something between that.
Yeah, we did. What did we play?
What did we play? I'm like brain farting. Or did you play it and I watched?
No, that was after the. No, I think we did go to Choo Choo Rocket.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, the next game we played was probably the most mental out of all the games.
Yes.
So, one of the Dreamcast's biggest things was its multiplayer focus and online multiplayer. And one of the most iconic multiplayer games on the Dreamcast is Choo Choo Rocket.
Yes.
Which is an insane puzzle game where the goal basically is you have 4 rockets. You play as a different rocket. And your goal you want to do is there's a bunch of mice that come out of these mice holes.
Yep.
And you want to use... So you get 4, you can place 3 arrow keys, and they're all dependent on which face button you press. And you have to direct the mice to your rocket.
Yep.
And you're fighting against like 3 other players, usually like whoever the 2 normal players and then a couple computers.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also cats that come out, and the cats will damage your rocket and lower your score if they get in your rocket.
Yep.
So your goal is you want to like, it's super fast paced, and you want to like direct the mice to your rocket while also directing the cats away.
Yep.
And it gets super frantic, like real fast.
Oh yeah. So the first round we played with the computers loves mice and then hates.
Which makes them
cats.
very obnoxious real fast.
Yes.
So we then later changed both computers to weak because
we were weak. But also in the first round, I didn't understand how the arrows.
Oh yeah, because the way the arrows work is each face button is a different arrow. So like the Dreamcast uses A at the bottom, then B to the right, then I believe it's X to the left, and then Y at the top. Mm-hmm. So essentially, like Y would be up arrow,
yep.
X would be left arrow, B would be right arrow, and then A is down arrow.
Yep.
So you place them via that, and you move around with the D-pad or analog stick. And Alex didn't realize this, so she's trying to like rotate them. And it's
I'm trying to rotate
them. Not how it works.
Nope. So, but then after that, I was so focused that I didn't even see the other arrows being in different directions. So I was just like, oh, the trick is you can only use your arrow facing one way.
No.
So I was like, oh, okay. All right. So I'm like trying my hardest, and I'm just like, what the hell? I just can't figure it out. So.
Yeah, but then I told her, and so we changed the next round. And the next round we played on a different board, and this was fun. Yeah. So this board was designed where all the mouse holes were at the top of the board, and the rockets were all lined up at the bottom.
Yeah.
So they would come down, and they'd be kind of going like back and forth down, and you could influence them with the thing. And this was like my greatest greatest play ever in the game.
Yeah.
Because I had one move where there's occasional like events that would pop up, and one of them is Mouse Mania, where like hundreds of mice appear on the board at once.
Yeah.
And I got the arrow pointed just right that they all went right into my rocket.
Yep.
And then I placed the way that they would come down into the play field is they would come out this one exit. So I just kept putting arrows there to send them back so they would never come back down.
Yeah.
And literally no one could get any more mice, and I had such a demanding lead. I basically just ran out the clock. Yep. I was like, I win this. But I would stop when Cat Mania would get activated, or like when the cats would show up. So I'd send the cat out on everybody.
Yep.
It was great.
Oh.
Like that was fun. We had a couple matches. Oh yeah, you versus green and me versus red was fun.
Oh, I was getting so mad. I don't know what it was, but the green one had like a vendetta against me. Like it targeted me.
Yeah, and red had a vendetta against me for some reason.
At one point, I was just getting so pissed that I just was blocking it so green couldn't get any points. I like got no points that round, but it felt good.
The problem is though, you let red get all the points twice, and it was like, no.
Yeah, I was too busy fending off green.
It was funny. It got super intense to the point where we got so frustrated. We were like, I don't want to play anymore.
We were just like, we got so mad.
That was a cool game because that was like one of those Sonic Team games. Like Sonic Team made a ton of great games during this era. Yeah. And that game actually did get ported to the Game Boy Advance later on too, which was kind of cool.
See, I feel like I would enjoy it more playing it like on a handheld. Like I feel like I would pick that up and be like, and then put it down, and then start up again later.
It was pretty cool. Like it was a good port, even though I prefer the Dreamcast just because I love Dreamcast games.
Yeah. Dreamcast
games are just special. Like they have this crazy like the Dreamcast was like one of the most experimental just fun consoles. Like there's a game on that system for such a short-lived console. It had a shit ton of games. Yeah. Like there was like games for every single person imaginable. Yeah. Like you had your racers, you had your fighters in particular, you had horror games, RPGs, platformers, action adventure, casual, rhythm. It was a
pretty mixed bag.
Party, online games, FPS shooters. Like we didn't even pick those up.
Oh, and it also had, what's it called?
Oh, Seaman.
Seaman.
Do you want to save Seaman for later to talk about?
Yeah, we'll talk about Seaman later.
We'll save Seaman for a bit because there's a ton of other different games. Like the Dreamcast, honestly, we're gonna take a detour from our our actual playthrough point, but just to talk about a few key Dreamcast games because there was a few iconic ones like there was the famous.
C-Man.
Yeah, we'll get to that because that's a topic, but there was the classic typing of the dead.
Oh yeah.
Typing of the so the Dreamcast had a full-on mouse and keyboard like setup, like a full-on keyboard and mouse, which you could use for first-person shooters like Quake 3 and Unreal Tournament really well.
Yep.
But then there was also like this one game called Typing of the Dead, which was a spin-off of the House of the Dead, which it was a typing game where you killed zombies, and it was really fun, actually. Surprisingly a cool idea for the time.
Yeah.
Like, I actually do have that keyboard. I really.
Oh, you do? I was going to ask you that.
I have the mouse and the keyboard.
Okay, nice.
And then the keyboard and mouse were also, well, not so much the mouse, but the keyboard was also used for Phantasy Star Online, one of the first online console MMOs.
Huh.
Which is a really cool, like, action RPG set in the Phantasy Star universe.
Yep.
Played a bit of that. There was also the iconic Shenmue. Which was, at the time, one of the most expensive games of all time.
Yep.
And it was basically kind of like, it was a RPG-ish action beat-em-up game, but the whole concept was there was a story you could follow, but you could really do whatever you wanted while playing the game. It was like, the creator Yu Suzuki referred to it as free. That's the genre. Because you basically were just, you simulating this guy's life and just playing through levels and stuff. It was a really cool concept. It hasn't aged great nowadays, but it was a really cool idea, and it got one sequel in the Dreamcast, and then eventually another one years later.
Yep.
That was a cool one. Like, there was a ton of crazy, unique games. Skies of Arcadia, one of probably the coolest RPGs ever made. Sky Pirates in RPG. It was really cool.
Oh yeah, that's what kept popping up on my memory card.
Yeah, because I have that memory card has my Skies of Arcadia data on it. But that's a cool RPG, really expensive nowadays too. That's probably the Dreamcast RPG now that I think about it.
Yep.
Grandia 2 is another great RPG, turn-based. Like, it was just, Dreamcast literally had a game for everybody.
Yeah.
But before we get that, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Woo!
Because the Dreamcast deserves it.
I thought you said desserts. And I was like, we have Dreamcast desserts?
No. The Dreamcast deserves it. Because
well,
it's still...
it deserves desserts, too.
All right. We're already falling apart. We'll be right back.
Woo!
And we're back.
We are family. We are.
Yep.
And we're back.
So, going back to some of the games we played, the next two games we played were... I wanted to go to another one of the most iconic games on the entire Dreamcast, and that was Crazy Taxi.
Yes.
Now, Crazy Taxi is a port of an arcade game made by a company called Hitmaker. Mm-hmm. I think they were originally Sega AM3, but Crazy Taxi is a very simple concept. It's basically, you get in a car, and you pick up pedestrians under a time limit, get them to their destination, you get points, rinse, repeat.
Yep.
And it's basically it's a very simple concept, but it's addicting as hell to play.
And it's hilarious.
Yeah, it is. So basically, the way it really works is you pick up customers, and they have different length. Like, there's shorter distance, but with a smaller payout, and there's long distance with a higher payout.
Yep.
And you have a timer on how fast you can get the passenger there. If you're in the green, you get the best payoff plus a tip.
Yep.
Yellow, you get a big good payoff, may or not a tip, and then red, you get paid no tip at all.
Yep.
So, but it's kind of cool because you get points too for like weaving through traffic without crashing and like doing stunts in the air and stuff.
Yep.
To get extra tip money and bonus like money for your payoff.
Yep.
But what makes Crazy Taxi iconic is the product placement.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's random points where
you don't see that anymore.
No, there's like random points where it's like, take me to the Pizza Hut, or take me to the KFC, or my favorite is take me to the Fila store, or something like that. Like, just like crazy goofy product placement like that. And then the soundtrack. The soundtrack to the original Crazy Taxi is so iconic because it's literally it's nothing but Offspring and Bad Religion. Like, it's two Offspring songs. Yep. From Ixnay and the Ixnay and the Ombre album. It's All I Want, and I forget the other song, but I think it's the song right after that.
Yep.
And then there's two Bad Religion songs, Them and Us, and 10 and 2010 from the Grey Race album.
Yep.
But they're just so freaking catchy when you play.
Yeah.
And you can just drive around. Like, the characters are all so doofy and goofy looking.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like,
They're
it's
very
like,
much caricatures.
oh, yeah, it's like the pinnacle of Sega from that era.
Yeah.
But it's super fast-paced and, like, super addicting to play, especially if you're playing, like, an actual arcade machine that you happen to stumble across.
Yep.
But, it also got a direct sequel on the Dreamcast called Crazy Taxi 2.
Yeah.
Now, Crazy Taxi 2 is a fascinating one because it's very much like the same thing, but
Yep.
it's slightly improved.
Yes.
So you get two new maps that you can drive on, 4 new drivers,
Yep.
and a new soundtrack, which is still mostly Offspring.
And you can jump.
Yeah, one of the most hilarious and new product placement is Burger King.
Oh yes, also Burger King.
But one of the biggest like key gameplay changes is a new feature called the Crazy Hop, which lets you jump in the air with your taxi to jump over cars and other like do shortcuts and stuff.
Yep.
Or get stuck on bridges and completely screw you out of a job.
Yep.
That happened to me once.
Yep. I was there. It was very funny.
And then another added feature is you'll have 4-person drop-offs. So you'll pick up, say, like a group of cheerleaders or a group of like frat boys or something. I think I don't remember exactly about that last one, but you get 4 people and they each have their own timer and destination. You have to take them there within the time limit on each, so you have to kind of plan it out.
Yeah,
it's a cool strategy thing, and it's the same fun. It's definitely more ridiculous than the original one.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Crazy Taxi was actually later ripped off by The Simpsons, with a game called Simpsons Road Rage, which is literally Crazy Taxi.
Yep.
Like, just Simpsons. Like, there's no hiding it whatsoever.
And Crazy Taxi sued?
Sega
Yeah,
sued
Sega.
EA and Fox, I believe. And they actually copyrighted the little pointy finger, like, arrow at the top. And all it really caused is other developers just thought of better solutions, like the minimap, in-game, like, minimap guidelines and stuff.
Yeah.
Which was just funny. Like, it's one of those hilarious lawsuits that happened.
Yeah. Over something so stupid, too.
Yeah,
like
well, I mean, it was a blatant ripoff.
Oh, yeah. But I think the arrow is just, that's kind of dumb. Like, it's an arrow. Like, whatever. Like, I just think that was a stupid copyright.
Yeah.
But anyway, if anything, it improved the industry, so.
It did. Most lawsuits like that do improve the industry. Because it just causes developers to think of better options, which is always great.
Yep.
Now, before we talk about our last game we played, because the last one was an interesting one,
Yeah.
let's talk about a few other unique Dreamcast games, most of which was, we alluded to it earlier, Seaman.
Seaman.
The most awkward
Strange
name, title, and strangest just game overall.
Yep.
So, Seaman is a
Kind of like Animal Crossing.
pet sim. Well, no, not really.
The clock.
Well,
System.
okay, it has an in-game clock.
Yes.
Like, and it's completely narrated by Leonard Nimoy. And it's like, so basically you have this little virtual pet Seaman thing that you can talk to.
I was about to say Google Seaman, but I
Don't.
don't Google that.
Don't.
Google that.
Don't. But
unless you put Dreamcast.
yeah.
But even then, I don't know.
Or game.
Game. I don't know about that. No,
Sega game.
Just really
Leonard
type it
Nimoy.
in. Leonard Nimoy.
But so basically it's kind of like a virtual pet simulator where you have this little Seaman creature.
Fish with a face.
It's literally a fish with a human face. And
Yes,
and
and
it
it
can
talks.
talk to you. And you can talk to it with the Dreamcast microphone, and it will like talk back, and it has like an attitude. Like it'll like snark at you. It'll like just shit randomly. If you don't watch it, it'll die.
Yep.
They'll make babies on screen and like gloat
Yes.
to you about it.
Yep.
And then die.
Yep.
And then eventually it evolves into this like frog creature thing.
Yep.
And
It
it's
still is the
and
human
it praises Sega at the end too.
Yep.
Which is one of the great. It's such a.
Such a bizarre.
It had a sequel too on
Oh, it did?
PlayStation 2.
Ew.
And I remember because there was also a PlayStation 2 port of the original Seaman.
How did they get around the microphone thing?
So it came with a custom controller that had the microphone built into it.
Ah, okay.
Because I remember you were in Japan and you found one.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, you sent me a picture of the
Oh, yeah.
it was like a PS2 copy of Seaman, and you were like, "Would you want this?" And I was like, "I'd have no way to play it, so probably not."
Yeah.
Because I don't have a Japanese PS2 right now.
Yep.
But honestly, I wish I'd done more research because that actually would have been kind of cool.
Mm.
But yeah, that's one of the most interesting Dreamcast games out there.
Yeah. And bizarre.
Yeah, well, gaming's bizarre in general.
Especially.
But another thing I want to talk about with the Dreamcast is the Dreamcast was like, so because it came out right at the end of like the PS1 and N64 era, before the PS2 was out.
Yep.
The Dreamcast got a lot of ports of like PlayStation 1 and N64 games.
Huh.
All of those ports are like PC versions these days. They are like just better in every way, faster frame rates, higher resolution, cleaner graphics, cutscenes and stuff.
Yep.
Like I've actually gotten into like collecting the Dreamcast versions of all these games because they're just better.
Yeah.
Like Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, 102 Dalmatians, Donald Duck Going Quackers.
Oh boy.
Like they're just better games like overall on the Dreamcast, and it's really cool and fascinating because it's clearly a more powerful system in that way. Then another cool thing about the Dreamcast was not a Dreamcast game so much as more of a thing that came out called Bleemcast.
Bleemcast.
Now Bleemcast was a commercial. Well, it was a commercial Sega PlayStation emulator designed to run on Sega Dreamcast.
Oh.
Created by the company Bleem, who made the Bleem emulator. Yep. Which was a PlayStation emulator at the time.
Yeah.
Now, Bleemcast originally was designed, it was going to come out in like packs that would play a whole bunch of games. Yep. It ended up getting reduced to just only 3 games worked with it. Yep. Metal Gear Solid, Tekken 3, and Gran Turismo 2.
Was PlayStation okay with this?
No, we're gonna get into this.
Okay, because I was gonna say like this sounds sketchy.
Now, the Bleemcast discs are the best way to play these games. Yeah. Like Metal Gear Solid on the Dreamcast looks amazing. Like it's so crystal clear. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make the graphics better, but it cleans them up considerably. Now the thing is though, Sony did not like Bleem to begin with because Bleem was originally a PC emulator that played Dreamcast games. I mean, played PlayStation games.
PlayStation games, yep.
And Sony was not okay with that. Yeah. Now, Sony actually sued Bleem for I think they sued them more for the PC emulator than the Dreamcast thing. Yeah. I think the Dreamcast thing came out after the lawsuits were going on. Yeah. But basically, Sony sued Bleem, and Bleem actually won.
Oh, how?
Because they proved it was technically fair use. Because they rewrote the PlayStation. Basically, it proved the legality of emulation. Because emulation's always been kind of a gray area. Technically, it's legal as long as you own an actual copy of the game you're playing. And technically, on the Bleemcast, you're using the PlayStation discs. Yeah. The thing is, though, Bleem was a very small company. Yep. Sony's a mega corporation, so Sony just kept suing them until they ran out of money and went out of business. They basically sued them out into oblivion. Yeah. And unfortunately, by that point, only 3 Bleemcast games came out, and the company folded. Yeah. I think there was more because I believe there's rips of of like Final Fantasy IX running on Dreamcast. Yep. And other games. But it's funny, when Bleem went out of business, their website changed to a tombstone with Sonic next to it that said Bleem. Oh. And then they later removed Sonic because they were worried about getting sued by Sega. Which is funny.
That's hilarious. Good. I mean, good. Like, that sucks that they closed, but that's pretty hilarious.
Well, there's rumors that Bleem might have come and been used later on for how to get PSP stuff. Get PlayStation games to run on PSP. Yep. But I've heard mixed things because I've also heard that another similar emulator may have been used for the same thing. Oh, okay. But I've heard rumors for both. Huh. But yeah, Bleemcast is one of the more fascinating things. Yeah. Mostly just because it's the most what the hell Yeah. Unfortunately, it doesn't work with every Dreamcast because one's made after a certain date. stopped letting it work because Sega changed. Bleem piggybacked off of a feature that was kind of a rudimentary feature that Sega programmed into Dreamcast, but was never utilized. Later versions of the Dreamcast removed that ability, so Bleemcast no longer works.
Oh, okay.
My console does work, though.
Huh, nice.
I made sure it was the right year.
Nice.
Now, to wrap this one up, we played one final game.
Yes.
Now, so I already said, like, fighting games were probably the Dreamcast, like, bread and butter.
Yep.
Another thing that the Dreamcast had a phenomenal selection of was racing games. Including, like, big hits, like Test Drive was on the Dreamcast.
Yep.
Tokyo Extreme Racer is probably one of the most famous ones. You had other ones like San Francisco Rush 2049, I believe.
Yep.
Hydro Thunder, like all sorts of really cool racers. And then, of course, you've got Sega Rally 2, obviously, like all sorts of racers. But then the one to me that's the most iconic is Daytona USA.
Yep.
Now, the the Sega Dreamcast version of Daytona USA is sometimes subtitled Daytona USA 2001 in other countries, but ours we just called it Daytona USA.
Yep.
It's basically an expanded remake of the original of Daytona USA. Fully, like, 60 frames per second, perfect draw distance, like, runs smooth as butter, full remade graphics.
Yeah.
But it runs on Dreamcast.
Yeah.
And we decided to play a few rounds of this, and oh my god, it was the most hilarious thing we've ever done.
Oh my god.
I posted on Instagram earlier, probably you'll have seen it if you follow my Instagram, one of our replays of the race, where I give my all to get a good race down, and Alex is just slamming into walls, crashing.
Okay, but give me a second. I chose the wrong car for a beginner at the racing
Well, to be
game.
fair, too, this game is notorious for its twitchy controls, too.
Yep.
Not awful, but they're definitely sensitive.
Yeah.
But, oh my god, it was great just watching her, like, swerve around, drive headfirst into walls, crash into other cars, fly through the air.
Yep, go backwards.
So then, after the first trip, like, we did the simple, like, the classic, like, 3-7 Speedway, which is, like, the most iconic track in Daytona. After that one, we moved on to, I want to do, like, the most technical course, which is the bridge course.
Yep.
And me and Alex, like, started the race having, like, this really good, like, scrap, like, battle.
Yeah.
Going for it. And then all of a sudden, like, I overshot a corner and crashed headfirst into a wall, flipped through the air. And Alex was distracted by me crashing, and she crashed.
Yep.
So now our cars are, like, damaged beyond belief, and we're just kind of puttering around. And she's, like, spinning out everywhere, and I'm, like, in the wall, constantly drifting around corners because my tires are destroyed.
Yep.
And I actually ended up catching, like, the slowest car in the field because they were fields of 10.
Yep.
So I'm like, I'm not going to come in dead last between, like, us and the computers. So I managed to pass them. And then Alex eventually...
I just started goofing around.
Yeah, so eventually we get past Alex and lap them. And I'm like, Alex, take out that orange car behind me. And she just straight up pile drives it and through the air. And I was like, oh, man, we did eventually finish that race, though.
Yeah. I just had started, like, purposely trying to take other people out in hopes that they would help Bill win. So,
oh, it was great. Like, just, it turned into utter chaos.
Yeah. And I started doing burnouts and, like, trying to make donuts.
Yeah.
Like, I was just having a good time.
And then the final race we did on Daytona USA was a, one of the more, it was another oval. It was like a, kind of like a flat oval kind of track.
Yep.
That was quick. And, so we're doing that one. And, like, I had a terrible restart, and then me and Alex was, like, racing me really hard for no reason at the beginning.
Yeah.
So I fell back, and eventually I got my way up to 4th.
Yep.
But that's such a fast track that it's over before you know it. But at one point in the race, especially I didn't save this replay. I kind of wish I did now.
Yep.
But there's a point in the race where Alex just, like, swerves off the track, then cuts right across and just straight up pile drives this one dude and causes a massive wreck. And I'm like... You're a mad woman.
This is how I play race. You know what? The thing is like, I shouldn't be playing racing games. I should be playing Demolition Derby games. That's my type of game.
So you like Twisted Metal.
See, but the thing is like, in real life, I think I'd want to do actual, like, racing on a track. I wouldn't want to do Demolition Derby. But in a video game, I'm all for Demolition Derby. Let's destroy everything.
well, it's not a real cars and you have no fear.
Yes.
But yeah, that was... It's hilarious how the Dreamcast, looking back on it, like, people... There's not a lot of failed consoles that people universally look back on fondly.
Yeah.
The Dreamcast is the one failed console that everybody wishes didn't fail.
Yeah.
Because the Dreamcast is literally the last true gamers console.
Yep.
Like, everything about the Dreamcast was just straight up screamed...
For the fans.
For gamers, no bullshit.
Yeah.
Everything is built around that. Like, everything's a snap to program for. And if it hadn't have failed, there was actually proposed... Because Microsoft had a partnership with Sega towards the end. And they actually were there was proposals to get like a joint cross compatibility between Dreamcast and Xbox Live before the Dreamcast went under.
Yeah.
But that's why a lot of Sega games, like the Sega exclusives that came out after they went third party, were Xbox exclusives.
Oh,
it was like
they had that kind of preamble.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. Like it was. A lot of them went to Xbox, like the more unique ones. All the Sonic Team stuff went to Nintendo. And then Sony got like Virtua Fighter and Shinobi.
Yeah.
Which was an odd thing, because Sega had it out for Shinobi.
Yeah.
I mean, Sega had it out for PlayStation.
Yeah.
It's not Shinobi.
Well, I think PlayStation... Well, it's kind of like what you said. PlayStation was kind of their downfall, because people were so hyped about the PlayStation
killed
2.
The Dreamcast so brutally. And actually, it's a fun thing.
Death!
No.
So fun. No.
So, one of the final CEOs of Sega of America, before they became a third-party a company, was Peter Moore. He later went on to be the CEO of Microsoft.
Oh,
and he led the charge to get the Xbox 360 out on the market first, because he was so bitter at Sony that he wanted to destroy them.
Yeah.
Ironically, in doing that, though, it caused the Red Ring of Death, which probably was more detrimental than anything, because the Xbox 360 was rushed to the market completely.
Yep.
And Sony still won in the end.
Yep.
Regardless, but it was kind of hilarious. The man was that bitter that he had to like take it out against Sony personally for destroying Sega, the Dreamcast. And it was just kind of crazy.
Sorry, I think I just got a porn text message. It says, "Hi, I am Jessica. I'd like you to be your cover to wrap you up closely at night, honey." And there's a link. I'm gonna delete
Yeah,
this.
I'd get rid of that. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, that sounds...
That sounds like a scam.
It does.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just it went silent. Like I went silent because I was just like reading that. I was like, what the fuck? Like I was just like, what the hell? Yeah, it was sent from like a Gmail too. So I just deleted it.
Yeah, that's probably not real. But well.
No one answered text from Jessica. Okay, everyone. Don't trust her.
Unless your name is Jessica or you have a significant other named Jessica.
Jessica, it's cursed now, just like Karen. Cursed.
Yeah. It's really sad though, because the Sega Dreamcast had such an awesome like launch too. Like one of my favorites is like there's a party. One of the Sega Dreamcast commercials is there's like a party going on inside the Dreamcast, and all the Sega characters are like partying around.
Oh, that's fun.
And Sonic's the DJ, and one of the character guys is like, he's like, "Hey man, lay off the light speed." Yeah. And Sonic just Ryan Drummond voice just goes, "My bad."
My bad.
It was so charming and like great.
Aww.
And it's so the Dreamcast slogan its entire life was "It's thinking."
Yeah. And
to this day, every anniversary, every year, like people still point out this with the Sega Dreamcast. Its common phrase that people still will bring up is "It's still thinking."
Yeah.
Even to this day.
No.
Like, because the Dreamcast never truly died with fans.
No.
It's not like...
Let's bring it back.
People...
Petition to bring the Dreamcast
People
back.
have wanted a Dreamcast 2 for so long.
Oh, yeah. I don't think
it'll never happen. Sega's never going to make a console again. It's just...
Yeah.
Never going to happen. But I would really love to see, like, a Dreamcast... See, they've done Dreamcast collections in the past before.
Yeah.
Because they re-released a bunch of the games, and then there was one of the most hilariously stupid collection sets ever exclusively for the Xbox 360. There was a set called the Sega Dreamcast collection, and it came with Sonic Adventure, Crazy Taxi, Sega Bass Fishing, and
Seaman.
no, it was a Space Channel 5 Part 2.
Yeah. Oh, I'm surprised it didn't have the little Mousy Mouse game.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point.
Choo Choo Rocket. That's it.
I'm surprised. It was annoying because they only 4 games, and it was like
What a collection.
2 of them have been ported to everything.
Yeah.
One of them's Sega Bass Fishing, which nothing against Sega Bass Fishing,
But who the fuck cares?
who wants to play that now?
Yeah.
And then the Space Channel 5 Part 2 was kind of cool just because...
Just go outside.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was a kind of one-off thing. It's kind of a cool collector's item now if you can find a copy for nothing, like the Dreamcast collection.
Yeah.
And it's got the dumbest cover art too. It's just got the 4 games and stuff and then the Dreamcast just slapped on the bottom.
Yep.
And it's like
remember me, please.
Oh, another fun fact too is in Europe, because of there was another company that had the orange swirl logo already taken. European Dreamcasts have a blue swirl.
Oh.
Like completely in the BIOS, on the console, and the controllers. I actually have European controllers. I noticed.
Oh, really?
Because they have the blue. They have the blue swirl for some reason.
Huh.
But
That's
yeah,
funny.
that's a funny thing. Like 2 differences. There was also the Sega Sports version, which was a black Dreamcast. That's the only way you can get a black Dreamcast.
Huh.
Is the Sega Sports version.
Interesting.
Like it's such a fun little system. Like
No. I wonder if they'll do like a mini console.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
Mini consoles are kind of. They can't. They were like mini consoles. Micro consoles were probably one of the biggest flash in the pans we've had in a long time.
Yeah. Well, true.
But,
and if you said they don't want to make a console, I doubt they're gonna go back and. They did the Genesis. Yeah, but I doubt the Dreamcast.
Yeah, it's harder. It's harder to like Sony's shown us that it's not easy to do. Micro consoles, the more powerful they get.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know how they could pull off a good Dreamcast. Honestly, the Dreamcast's biggest downfall was not even Sony. It was piracy.
Oh, really?
Because people found it was very easily cracked how to make to pirate Dreamcast games because you could just easily put them on compact discs half the time. Even though the Dreamcast supposedly had this unique GD-ROM format which could hold more data than a CD, and it was supposedly piracy proof, even though that was disproven very fast, which was very detrimental to the console. Yeah, what was your favorite game you played during the?
My favorite game was probably Dead or Alive. I had the most fun playing that one.
I enjoyed Dead or Alive.
And it was between Dead or Alive and the one with the swords. I can't remember.
Soul Calibur.
Yeah, Soul Calibur and Dead or Alive. But I also did have a lot of fun playing Daytona USA.
I mean, I love
just because of how badly how badly it went. But honestly, that's basically how most racing games with me go. I'm just not good at them.
Yeah. We should have played Hydro Thunder, water racing.
That was always next time. We can always do a part 2.
At some point.
Yeah.
Or just talk about racing games in general.
Yeah.
At some point. But yeah, man. I mean, I don't know what much more is there to say. It's actually funny we're recording this because the Dreamcast just turned 21, or 22.
Yeah.
22, I think.
Yep. Crazy. It's still younger than us, but not by much.
Dreamcast can drink now.
Yeah, the Dreamcast can drink. Hell yeah. Cheers to the Dreamcast.
Anyways. I think we've rambled on enough here.
Yeah.
So,
well, I guess you guys can look forward to our next podcast too, though, because it's going to be a retrospective of our convention.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be talking about the convention we're going to tomorrow.
Yep.
Even though it'll be like 4 weeks after. Right?
Yeah, it's going to be a couple weeks after, but, we're still going to talk about it, because why not?
Yeah.
It will be our first one back since 2019, so I think we'll have a lot to say about it.
First convention in over a year.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
And we got a couple more podcasts planned already, so...
Yeah. We're going to get a lot of shit done today.
Oh, yeah.
Or
and tomorrow. Well, tomorrow and Sunday.
Yep.
So we have all Sunday, until the afternoon, too. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyways, guys, thank you for joining us once again on the Gaming Collecting Podcast. The Gaming Collecting Podcast is made on Anchor Podcasts, and you can easily find us on most of your major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify Podcasts. And you can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
Woo!
But anyways, guys, Thanks again for joining us, and we will see you all next time.
See you later.
Ciao. And remember, it's still thinking.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, we'll see you guys later.
I'm still thinking too.
That's overrated. Don't bother.
Oh.